and welcome to The Middlemen, where perspectives clash and opinions flow. Today, we gather to dissect and debate with three jurors. First, we have juror David Ukojo, a debutant with The Farmer's Tale, a story to compel, exploring the struggles and triumphs of a farmer's plight. Next is juror Emeka Maldinagu with the question, Tinubu, must Nigeria keep borrowing? A query that provokes. He will examine the nation's financial trajectory and fate, weighing the pros and cons of Nigeria's borrowing state. And I, Juror Olajumoke Alawode James, will pose a question so fine. Where will they gather? A query that's truly divine, examining Dele Farotimu's case with Afe Babalola SAN. Please sit back, relax, and join the conversation as our jurors present their topics with passion and persuasion. All of these conversations in a bit. We'll be right back. And you all welcome back to the Middlemen of Jurors. My case, where will they gather? So the Nigerian police force in Ekiti State have decided that criminal defamation is good enough an excuse to abduct lawyer Dele Farotimu from his office in Lekki, summarily prosecute him, deny him bail, and postpone the case till December 10th. Nigerians, where will they gather? Well, quite a few people on X have said that until there's a revolution or somebody prominent like Dele Farotimu is arrested, Nigerian youth will continue to suffer and smile. But with what is happening now, the movement by Shore and his yellow-orange cap movement are asking for young people to come out on the streets on December 10th in different areas in Nigeria. Afe Babalola chambers in Lagos, the courts in Ekiti, gather in Abuja and several other places. Nigerians, where would they gather? I agree absolutely that we talk too much about all of these issues. Criminal defamation is that you have invited the accused several times and he has refused to show up. Dele Farotimu wrote a book, The Nigerian Criminal Justice System, and all the things he wrote in his book are playing out with his arrest. Prominent Nigerians have come out to criticize this arrest and say that it is not democratic for anyone to be arrested the way Dele Farotimu was arrested in his office in Lekki. It is also very heartbreaking that the person at the heart of this case is a senior advocate himself, Afe Babalola, who claims to have been defamed by Dele Farotimu's book. Nigerians are saying, shouldn't he have just, sued him to court? Should he have used the instruments of the state, the Nigerian police, to abduct, not just arrest, abduct him against protocol, because the Lagos State Police Command was not, contacted before he was abducted and taken to Ekiti. My question once again is, Nigerians, where will they gather? It seems like we continue to complain across social media when things like this happen. First, it was the persecution of David Hundeyin. Then, Fisayo Shoyombo was arrested in court because he said he gave up himself. He wasn't arrested by the Nigerian army. But because people shouted on X, he was eventually released. Will this continue to happen unless and until we gather and say enough is enough? My question, Nigerians, where would they gather? And this is my verdict. It's very simple. Nobody is going to come to save Nigeria. Nigerians must hold Nigerian leaders accountable. We must come out on the streets and say, like Kenyans, like South Koreans, that democracy is government of the people for the people. And unless you're doing what the people demand, you cannot shut down the voices of opposition. You cannot use the instruments of the state against individuals. There's still freedom of the press. I rise.
Yeah, very interesting topic, given the situation at hand. Of course, I think this case should never have arisen, if it had been well thought out. Because a lot of people didn't even know about it. Now, I hear the Nigerian government moved to shut down the website that was publicizing the book, and that they are trying to send the police out to look for bookshops where the book is being sold to see. You see, all of these
as
things...
As demanded by Afe Babalola.
All of these things only show you that the judicial sector in Nigeria is in trouble. Is in big trouble.
As criminal?
It has a reputational crisis where it has to get to the point where lawyers will have to rely on the police to abduct lawyers. Do you know, it shows that the nation is on the verge of collapse. Because it is said that the court is the last hope of the common man. Now, lawyers are officers in the temple of justice. And whenever, if you attend court sittings, you see at times when learned counsel argue, they debate, they disagree, and then the judge, or the magistrate will come, or the president of the court, in the case of the customary court, will rise to the occasion, and cool tempers. But in this case, the police, who are just, armed policemen are not allowed into the court. So the police who are just supposed to be like, just observers, like other observers, at this time being used to abduct an officer of the Temple of Justice, on the prompting of another officer, by the way, senior officer. You see, there are a number of books that have caused such controversy, led to arrests of people and all of that. But what happened? Look at the Satanic Verses, for instance. Look at Mein Kampf. Look at different number of books. Even the Theory of Evolution by Charles Darwin. All of those books were banned. They actually raised so much controversy. But what happened? At the end of the day, they gained much more popularity than before they were banned.
Daily Farotim's books are sold out.
They're sold out. People are even buying copies from Amazon. Now, what I'm just trying to say is this. I know, yes, in the book, Daily Farotimi highlighted, issues about, the integrity that even had to do with the integrity of the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
But look at what many people are saying. And so what?
Is he lying?
Is he lying? Then some people are even now bringing up their personal experiences in the courts. And you now ask a question. The other day, it was the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court that said that some clients use senior lawyers to bait judges with bribes.
I've heard that election petition tribunals, quite a number of judges are very excited to be on the panel. No. They would hustle to be on it. Why? Because, There
was this book we read in secondary school.
Their palms would be robbed.
The Incorruptible Judge. That book influenced us.
Was it so in secondary school we read?
It was in secondary school.
Or primary 6.
Then, maybe you are so...
Our own educational system was different.
So
our educational system was different.
Do you think he's trying to show power?
Who?
Chief Afe Babalola. Yes. It's not impossible.
Show power to who though?
Emefiele.
I mean to
Farotimi.
Yes. Because he could have easily just issued a suit. They would have taken it.
That's why she said defamation. In section 375 of the Criminal Code, it says that defamation is a criminal act. But by the whole, even chapter 33 of the Criminal Code outlines, the dimensions of defamation. But
in Lagos,
where
the crime was committed,
even before we get to Lagos,
defamation is not criminal.
Even before we come to Lagos, the point has been made that defamation should be a civil matter.
It has always
because
been.
in court, you must first look at the civil, the civil nature before you can then prove the criminal intent. In this case, the prosecutor said deliverance is a security risk. Now I'm wondering, what is Chief Afe Babalola more than being a senior lawyer? Deliverance is also a senior lawyer. So what has it got to do with deliverance being a security risk? That's now, unfortunately.
Security risk because it's exposing the Supreme Court.
No, what's Supreme Court? You defend yourself now. What is it? The Supreme Court is a part of the Nigerian society. What I'm talking about is that deliverance to me is a critic of the government. Now, the way people bungle issues because of overzealousness, because of this show of power, stupid show of power, what do we see? Now they are wittingly dragging the government into something that shouldn't concern the government.
True, very true.
By talking of national security, it shows that this matter was hurriedly concocted. It was not well thought out. And I believe that some people may have actually pushed Chief Afe Babalola on this matter.
Okay, so
some people, and I won't be surprised that even the police, because there have been cases where the police will be telling people, no, don't agree, push, fire, don't agree, let's arrest him, don't settle. But one thing, there's a Yoruba proverb that says,
division of powers, right? The Ekiti Police Command should not and cannot come to Lagos to arrest.
This one, they have done him.
Yes, without consulting the Lagos State Police Command, because when the Lagos State Police Command was reached, that we heard that Dele Farotimi was. They weren't
even putting on police uniform. They were just putting on
RRS jackets.
Yes.
The Lagos Police Command said, "Oh, we didn't know of his arrest." And that's the jurisdiction, He lives and works in Lagos. He wrote a book in Lagos. Now, Afe Babalola, who resides in Ekiti, sends the police from Ekiti to come pick him in Lagos.
I'm very sad.
Breaking the law himself.
I'm very sad. This is a this is a clear.
For defamation, that's supposed to be a civil case.
The judicial sector,
the Nigerian Bar Association has put out a press release saying this is wrong. Dele Farotimi should be released. It's unfortunate that a day before his arrest, Dele Farotimi had also done a press conference stating that they have this case against me, and they had it hidden. They are alleging that they have invited me several times and I didn't show up, and everything that he mentioned, everything that he also wrote in this book was what they did. How can you be so far from reality, or what's the right word to describe their action?
Yeah.
To the extent that he described what you were going to do and you came and did it as accused. Very unfortunate. When we return, Juror David Ikojo will be exploring the trial and tribulation of a farmer in the pursuit of a fruitful strife. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Middleman.
Welcome back to the Middlemen. My case, a feast of irony, the hungry farmer's tale. Nigeria is a blessed country, a country blessed with rich soil and hardworking people. We have farms full of cassava, yams, cocoa, oranges, and palm trees. These crops grow in abundance, enough to feed not just us, but other nations as well. Yet, here we are, a country that struggles to put food on its own table. We ship most of these raw crops abroad, and other countries turn them into valuable products like orange juice, chocolates, and flour. Things that we end up importing back at high prices. The sad truth is, Nigeria doesn't own even one major food production company. Not one. No private company. No government-owned one. How did we get here? This begs the question, where are the visionaries? Young Nigerians are full of energy, talent, and creativity. We are setting trends on social media, creating music, and we shake the world. And launching new techs. But how many of us are thinking about farming or food production? Not many. And what about the rich people in Nigeria? those who have made millions in oil, real estate, and politics. Why aren't they investing in food production? They could turn our oranges into world-class orange juice. Maybe because it's not glamorous. Maybe because it looks like old school work. But isn't food the most basic thing we need in Nigeria? What's the use of all this fame and money if we can't grow and process our own food? Nigeria imports what it could produce, and the cycle of dependency only deepens. My verdict. Perhaps it is time to question not just the structures of government and policy, but also the very fabric of our ambitions, until we recognize that food sovereignty is the backbone of the true independence. Nigeria will remain a giant with clay feet, standing tall but sinking slowly.
David, just give us 24 hours electricity now. The wonders that we will do in terms of food production.
Even with 24
just
hours
give us power.
Even with 24 hours electricity.
A lot of young people are doing fantastic things.
The reason we will not also go into farming is because we are into subsistence farming in Nigeria rather than mechanized farming.
Yes.
Obasanjo has Obasanjo farms now. There are people who are planting. So look, our first lady went into Aso Rock's backyard and was planting vegetables, and 1 month after she harvested them and said, look, go see what I'm doing. How many of us have backyards that we can use to farm? Now, to even buy the land is another thing. You are talking about people who are going into real estate. It's more profitable to build on that land that you buy and be renting it out flat by flat than to plant crops that headsman cow will come and chop, and that's the end of the season for you. Lastly, insecurity is a major reason why we cannot even plant our own food. But if we then even had constant power, right, the entire value chain of planting, right, farming, harvesting, and then turning for instance, your cocoa into chocolate, your palm fronds into palm oil that we eventually will export. Because look, we have palm trees all over the country that we're not exporting palm oil. They said they used to export in what's Peter Obi's state?
Anambra.
They were exporting palm oil. I don't know what has happened to that now. So you cannot come and look at the young Nigerian who is easier to just sit in front of their laptop and make millions, trade in crypto, do forex and all other things, and be asking me to go and carry hoe and cutlass to go and be planting cassava. I beg.
No, but I don't think it's all doom and gloom, because there are Nigerians, young Nigerians actually, Nigerians of different ages who are into agricultural production. You know, there are some young ladies, you know, in different places who are really doing very well cultivating different crops. You know, there are people who are also into livestock production. You know, there are people doing fantastic things. So I think, yes, your clarion call is very, very important. You know, but it's also important for the government itself to see that agriculture is important.
Give us the
there are no
infrastructure.
policies on ground to even help people who are already in it.
Give us the infrastructure.
I'm a victim of a case where a lady who was doing tiger nuts, she was already doing well. At least everyone in her estate knew that this is what this woman is doing, and this is what she's living on.
What
Only
happened?
for an agency to come and shut it down.
Why?
I don't know.
She hadn't done registry.
She had
registration.
her NAFDAC.
NAFDAC.
She had a NAFDAC reg. They just came and said there was something backdated that she needed to do, and shut her down, and then put a bill for her to foot.
Nigeria happened to her.
That is Nigeria. You see, that is the problem with the kind of people, you know, in some government agencies.
Have you been listening to the debate about this tax reform?
No, that thing is dead on arrival. It's a waste of time. No, you see, Tinubu just thought he could. No, he thought the presidency was.
Some journalists are supporting him.
What do you expect? They are not doing that for free.
Eh,
I challenge them. Let them come out and say they are doing it for free. Nobody, no normal human being, no sane human being will support additional tax burden on you. Nobody. Unless there is somewhere they are stealing money, or they are getting some bribes that are sustaining them. Nobody. tax is not something that anybody, whether rich or poor, wants to pay anywhere in the world.
We are already overtaxed.
So for anybody
you
to
receive money into your bank account, they remove 15 naira.
Yes.
So imagine that, and then they are now saying that inheritance, right? Federal government gets 25%. So you save 100 million over 50 years of working, right? When you now pass on, for your children to inherit that 100 million that you have paid all sorts of taxes, personal income tax, or this, that tax, before you saved it. By the time they now want to pass it on to your children and grandchildren, they now say, 24 million of that amount is our own.
Let me tell them, they won't see one cover from my money. Because you see that 24 million, I will convert it to knowledge and pass it on to my children. So there won't be any money for anybody to see as inheritance.
Or rather than keeping it as cash in the bank, you buy stock.
I say I will put the knowledge in them. However, whether we buy stock or anything.
Or buy your 100 million, just buy a house.
No, it will be like the Da Vinci Code. You know, the Da Vinci Code was also banned.
Yes.
It will be the code within them. They will have the password to unlock the code. Well, you see, that's one thing about these billionaires all over the world. They don't have all these big cash deposits.
True.
They hold equities. They hold bonds.
Very true.
They hold commercial papers, investment papers.
Very true.
They put money in the money market, capital market. They'll set up a company, start something, and then invite shareholders. They will, package very good stuff, and then give out, equity.
Yeah.
They'll give out equity. So all they are owing.
Then their children maybe get shares, be collecting dividend every year.
No. So, and the dividend.
All you pay is personal income tax.
The shares they get, the equity they have, they may also have used that equity to raise funds to buy into existing successful companies. Companies that are doing well.
Wisdom.
So by the time you check equity here, equity from here,
equity from there.
Equity from here has bought equity here.
You go
What are you going to tax?
You retire.
And by the way, the man who owns all that equity owns nothing. He doesn't have any bank account. He doesn't have a car. He doesn't have anything. Private jet, everything. He will tell you, I'm living at the grace of of the company.
I deviated into tax reform bill in the National Assembly because it has passed second reading. But I mean, going back to Juro David's case, I agree with your verdict. But this is Nigeria, like you mentioned. When Nigeria happens to us, there are lots of people. Well, I remember Olufalaye in 2017, 2018. He was constantly abducted in his farm.
On his farm.
Constantly.
Yes, in Akure, Ondo State. Some people wanted to destroy that farm.
Because he was fighting herders who were coming onto his farm to use his farm produce to feed their cattle. They constantly, it was not once or twice that he was abducted. I think at some point, some of his farmers were even killed. He was paying ransom.
And then they now tried some of them and jailed them. That was when the whole thing stopped.
He was paying ransom. And then Amotekun sort of helped, the incursion of herders into the southwest. Prior to that, they were taking over farms. You see people doing videos. Come and see cattle in people's farmlands. So unless there's security of personnel, security of the farm produce, I'm not going to put my money into it's already risky to go into farming because you can go in your farm to harvest and all your produce has been damaged. Flooding can wipe away all your investment.
You have GMO crops.
All of that is there. Then artificial say force majeure is that it is natural. Artificial force majeure can't just enter and feed on your farm produce. Nobody is going to do that. A lot of northerners whose major occupation is farming, they are now migrating to the south
to ride Okada
and do security
and work as scavengers.
The thing is, Nigeria itself can't see the importance of
at all. It's only oil and borrowing.
If the government should arise today and say they want to put up a massive structure just to produce this particular good, that would not just put us on a little security side for importation and consumption of goods, but it would take a huge labor force out of the market.
I disagree. Absolutely. Lagos State and Kebbi, they did lake rice. Please show me a bag of lake rice.
There was no lake anywhere. It was just a potato.
Show me a bag of lake. Amosu built rice pyramid.
No, it was for the
President Buhari built rice pyramid. They were importing rice from different areas. All the trailers were coming from everywhere. And it was for photo op. They stood in front of the place.
That was for Sakamaje. You know,
government.
We can't even hold them accountable.
They just
If
you can just show me a bag of lake rice in the market now and tell me, oh, it's 80,000 or it's 75,000.
No, but I bought it then.
At that point, at that time.
No, but I don't know whether it was lake rice. I don't know whether it was. Do you know?
Only harvested for December. Sir, I'm giving you facts on this.
No, sorry, I'm not agreeing with you. Get what I'm saying. Do you know Big Bull now, they now have a laminated label. Because you know what people do? People go and take sacks and print the names of popular brands.
And repackage.
You know, package and sell as imported rice. So that lake rice may have been one of those.
Lake rice actually even sold. I think it was 2017 December or 2016. It actually sold. It was between Lagos State Governor Sanwo-Olu and Kebbi State Governor. Now, the demand for lake rice that December was higher than the supply, making lake rice even more expensive than the small goods rice. Every other market day it's not every other market day, it's actually every day on X. Fisayo Shoyombo is accusing customs of smuggling in rice. Today, he has still reminded them that yesterday night he shouted, they aborted it, but by 10 a.m. this morning they have, five-fed the rice he was shouting about. I beg, government should just create the enabling environment, provide security of man and farm produce, and see what Nigerians will do with farming.
All right. When we return, Jiro Emeka Madnago will be asking our president a question that has been on everyone's mind. Mr. President, why do we keep borrowing? In a bit.
Middleman. You're welcome back to the Middlemen. My case, Tinubu, must Nigeria keep borrowing? The borrowing penchant of the Bola Tinubu administration has become a thing of worry. It appears that the administration can't do anything without borrowing left, right, center, up, down, borrow from everywhere. It's so bad that to even cover the deficit for the 2024 budget, Nigeria is resorting to a loan of $2.2 billion. Wow. The budget has just 26 days from now to run out. Yeah, the budget cycle can be extended till March 2025. But aren't there other ways to cover our deficits without borrowing? So far, we've racked up more than 121 trillion naira in debts, both domestic and foreign. Just some days ago, the Senate approved the medium-term economic framework for 2025 to 2027. In the plan, is an intention to borrow 9.22 trillion as well as some ambitious GDP growth targets for each year and increased oil production projections. Nigeria's borrowing spree stems from government's overspending and has resulted in high interest rates and biting inflation. They are buying yachts, they are buying Escalade chairman, they are buying private jets, they are buying vehicles for the president's wife, they are fixing a residence in Abuja and Lagos for the vice president. And they say we don't have money. Well, my verdict. President Bola Tinubu needs to institute tight fiscal reforms to curb this risky appetite for borrowing. It's becoming too burdensome for the Nigerian economy to keep borrowing as if there are other ways by which we can fund capital projects, recurrent expenditure, and repay our loans. Debt servicing is costing us a ton of money, whereas we can instead make efforts to begin reducing our debts. Let's push out more Nigerian investors to the diaspora to go and earn money and repatriate their profits home. Let's diversify the economy through agriculture. value-added mining, etc. Let's issue bonds in place of some allocations, such as the monthly Federation account allocations. Let's cut the cost of governance and oil production and also improve the ease of doing business. In addition, deal decisively and ruthlessly with insecurity so that millions of Nigerians in internally displaced persons camps can return home to their regular lives and contribute to national development. I sorrow.
I want to agree with Ruben Abati that there has to be some evil spirit in Afro Rock. That once you enter like this, you are detached from reality. Because, Jure Emeka Madunagu,
Yes.
your verdict, is it that the Nigerian government does not know all of these solutions? In 2014, the APC knew the solutions to all Nigeria's problems.
Absolutely.
They absolutely criticized President Jonathan, in every regard. President Buhari came in and said that he was going to start a zero-based budget. In 8 years, it never happened.
Can we change?
President Tinubu came and said, we are going to implement Orosoye report. Sure, President Buhari, they say he doesn't read. Maybe he never read the Orosoye reports. President Tinubu, Orosoye is from his region. Maybe tomorrow, President Tinubu would implement that report. Because he shuffled his cabinet, sacked 5, employed 7 ministers. Then, only him, 13 media aides. SSA on communication. SSA on information and strategy.
Those are the official ones, so.
SSA on social media. SSA on... Only him, 13 aides.
You see how Renault mockery unofficial.
He's waiting.
And then you see how
that one is
you see how the Ronus on and the Albadorians on X.
And they are collecting their briefs from WhatsApp groups.
The thing is, all this borrowing, what exactly are we using it for?
Good question.
He borrowed the first one. He needed supplementary budgets.
Last year, he needed supplementary budget to buy presidential yachts, to buy SUV for his wife.
All this.
Then he said he was going to do student loan that will start in January 2024. I don't know who has collected that loan. Is already debunking this loan and saying we have not seen it. So,
what exactly are we using all this money to do?
In itself, borrowing is not bad. If, for instance, you're borrowing to build infrastructure, so you build, for instance, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, and you toll at 3 different points, making billions. Eventually, the money you receive, the revenue from tolling the expressway, will pay back not only the loan, but it will maintain the road, and it will do other things. So borrowing in itself is not the main problem. It's borrowing for consumption. That you borrow to pay salaries. Look, in your verdict, you also mentioned rebasing the economy. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala did it under President Jonathan. Look, I'm sounding like a broken record to myself for it. We rebased our economy under Jonathan. We became the biggest economy in Africa, going above South Africa. Today, we are number 3. We are number 3 now. Not only have they overtaken us, we have even gone one step below.
But what they are doing, the finance minister is saying that by next year,
that will climb again.
That will move to $1 trillion. But for me, you see, it's not.
Sir, I'm coming at something. When you say rebase the economy, we were rebasing, pulling in all of our income earners, like entertainment, like Nollywood. See Nollywood now, Netflix has carried Shokoto.
Otilo. Netflix is gone.
Gone! No more Netflix and chill. It's not cinema and chill. What Ashwaju maybe told us that she was going to share the ideas that Ashwaju shared with her. Netflix is gone now. They were saying for a population of
200 million. They have less than 200,000.
They have 250,000 subscribers.
How will that work?
It's not profitable.
How would that work? So are paying in naira.
So they carry their bag. Now, Cardozo yesterday was saying, was it yesterday or today, that because what was it we did to our naira? Devalued. Our debts have quadrupled in value in dollars.
You are borrowing in dollars, paying back in naira.
And devaluing your naira. So when you borrow and you think that it makes sense, we want to use it because they say you ought to spend yourself out of recession, right? So if your economy is having problems, you want to inject funds into it. But we already had hyperinflation when President Buhari and Emefiele were printing naira without selling crude oil, because our crude oil has already been, what's that thing that you
forward sales.
Forward sales. That's
so our future.
Let's just go home.
All this borrowing. What was the plan to pay back?
No plan. No, the IMF told them that the naira will find its value, and the naira
found its value now, 1,750 naira,
and it's winking at 2,000. So now
there's every possibility that this December now, if you don't buy anything you need now by next week,
everything has gone up now. What is that to buy?
No, dollar will come down in December because we usually have influx of foreign exchange with people coming home for the holidays. What happens, however, is that prices of goods double because the demand is higher than the supply, you know. But by January, when there is now 90 days,
faster.
Oh God, we must fast.
You know, January is the longest month.
Yes, 90 days.
90 days make a month.
We will fast. Juro, let's go.
Oh, yes, and that's a wrap on the Middlemen for today. Thanks to our jurors, Olajumoke Alaude James, thank you.
You're very
welcome. And David Ikojo, our debutant, thank you for your incisive thoughts. And a very big thank you to you, our viewer, for being a part of Middlemen today. We also thank the production crew, for always being there to make this show
pop
your delight. Yeah. Kudos to them. Until next time when we gather again to discuss, to debate, and to share our perspectives, remain a part of our community by following us all across our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. And do well to visit our website at www.enterprisetvnews.com. Goodbye till we see you again. Bye.